The Zeythari Empire had ruled the Orion Arm for nearly 1,000 years. Their fleets numbered in the tens of thousands. Their soldiers were bred in vats for war, and their kings were worshipped like gods. No world had ever refused their demands until they encountered Earth. When the first emissary of the Zeythari arrived in Earth's orbit, he did not come with treaties or pleasantries. He came with ultimatums. The broadcast was translated into 100 languages and carried across every network. Submit to the Zeythari throne. Pay tribute. Give your strongest to our legions. Resist, and Earth shall burn. To the emissary's surprise, the humans laughed. It wasn't arrogance. It was a kind of bitter amusement. The emissary had expected trembling, begging, fear. Instead, he saw the president of the United Earth Council lean forward, smile grimly, and simply say, "Try." The war began within weeks. The Zeythari unleashed their armadas, their war beasts, their slave legions. Cities across Asia and Africa burned in the first wave of bombardments. Millions died. The Zeythari expected surrender. They received silence. Then came the human counterattack. The Zeythari had thought Earth primitive. They were wrong. Humanity had never stopped preparing for its own wars. Nuclear arsenals, orbital defense grids, experimental weapons hidden in black-budget programs, all were unleashed at once. The first Zeythari fleet, 30,000 strong, was reduced to wreckage in orbit within 3 days. The humans didn't just fight with technology. They fought with fury. Every captured city erupted into insurgency. Farmers with rifles became snipers. Children carried messages for guerrilla cells. The Zeythari were used to obedience. They had never faced a species that refused to kneel. By the second month, the invaders were no longer advancing. They were being driven back. But humanity was not content with defense. General Cade, commander of Earth's joint forces, gave a speech before the counteroffensive. They came to enslave us. They came to make us bow. We will not stop at survival. We will show them what happens when humanity is pushed. We will go to their world, and we will drag their king into the streets. The fleet launched. The battle for the Zeythari homeworld lasted 29 days. Human soldiers fought through jungles of carnivorous plants, across skies choked with acid storms, against endless waves of vat-born warriors. They burned the Zeythari throne city to the ground. At the heart of the capital, in a palace carved from black stone, the king of the Zeythari sat on his throne. His army shattered, his fleets annihilated, his subjects scattered. Yet still he sneered at the humans who stormed his chamber. "You think you have won?" he spat. "We are eternal. I am divine. You cannot kill a god." General Cade stepped forward, visor cracked, armor scorched. He leveled his weapon. "You know God. You're just another tyrant who thought humanity would break." And then, in front of his surviving guards, the Zeythari king was dragged from his throne. Shackled, bloodied, stripped of his crown, he was hauled into the streets of his own capital. The sight was broadcast across the galaxy. The once untouchable monarch, humiliated, stumbling, jeered by his former slaves who now dared to spit in his face. The Zeythari people watched in stunned silence. Their king was not a god. He was just a man beaten by humans. The war ended that day, not because the Zeythari surrendered, but because their empire collapsed from within. Worlds long enslaved rose up, emboldened by the human victory. Chains broke, thrones fell, and the galaxy learned a lesson it would never forget. Humanity was not prey. In the aftermath, alien historians tried to understand how Earth had prevailed. They wrote about tactics, about weapons, about logistics. But those who had seen the war knew the truth. It wasn't humanity's machines that won. It was their refusal to kneel, their willingness to bleed, their defiance, even in the face of fire raining from the skies. A single phrase spread from world to world, whispered with awe and fear alike. They dragged a king through the streets. From that day onward, no empire, no conqueror, no self-proclaimed god ever looked at humanity the same way. For when humans were threatened, they did not merely fight. They destroyed. They remembered. And they made sure the galaxy did too.